exhaust pipe. Go!
Welcome back to another movie review. Today I am reviewing a movie called Men in Black International. It is the fourth one out of the trilogy of movies. So let me get on with this. The director of Men in Black International is by F. Gary Gray, who you might have seen him in other movies that he's directed, like Straight Outta Compton or Fast and Furious 8, which is The Fate of the Furious. And also you have seen some of these well-known actors. You got Chris Hemsworth, as you know, as Thor. You got Tessa Thompson, and you got Liam Neeson, who is a badass, who is also in the movie Taken and Taken 2. Now, imagine living in a world where you know aliens exist and you're trying so hard to prove it. That is what Molly is trying to do, who is portrayed by Tessa Thompson. And she is trying to understand where monsters come from, what they do, and about the whole universe, because she believes there is so much more to the universe than just their small little planet that is Earth, that's in a big giant solar system. So she finds out that her parents have been, well, their mind has been wiped and by these men in black suits. So she dedicates her life to finding about these men in black. And so she finally figures out where they're located, and she wants to join them because she's tried to join the FBI as many times as possible with trying to give them an idea of, I'm trying to join, you know, the men in black, but not really say men in black, but also to say, you know, to talk about people that are up there, and, you know, people might say, you know, like the next floor, accounting, whatnot. And so finally she becomes part of a group called the Men in Black, and she meets her partner Chris Hemsworth, who is playing H, Agent H, my mistake, and she also meets Liam Neeson, who is playing as High T, and then she meets over there, right over there, who is the I'd say like the commander-in-chief of the Men in Black in New York City, while High T is like the chief and commander in London, England. And so she goes on to find out that she partners up with H, and they go on missions to figure out what's going on with the world, while Agent H has to protect a nice and royal guy from a different planet. And while they are trying to watch over this guy, Molly, or Agent M in this case, Agent M gets a small little device, and she's wondering what the heck I'm supposed to do with this. Well, as it goes, she finds out later in the video what it is, what she has to do with it, because there are a lot of plot twists and crazy things that go on. Now that you know a little bit about the movie and what it's kind of about, as it goes, aliens and everything else, let me give you my personal opinion. When you compare MIB International, which is number 4, to the first, the second, and the third, with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, that is not Tommy Lee, that is Tommy Lee Jones. You know, in the beginning of when Will Smith was doing Men in Black, it was really well done. It was really creative. You get to see what goes on. You get to see all cool weapons and everything else, and you still get the nice action and the chase and everything of trying to figure out all about aliens, where Will Smith finds out that he is just not the only one on a planet. And so you kind of get the feel for the story. And then you get to the second one, and it's like, well, you know, there's a lot more to it, because now there is more aliens, of course, because it's all about aliens. And it's also about protecting a lady who is actually a queen, who is a light of Zartha, and you learn about it more and everything else. Then you jump to the third one where you learn about Will Smith's past, where Will Smith's father has died and what caused it. And, you learn about aliens that are able to go back into the past to try to rewrite history and everything. So you can see that it gets more advanced as time goes on. Now, when you get to the fourth one, it's a big hit. Like, it's majorly like, okay, is it going to be the same as the first, the second, and the third? Well, yes, technically it is like that. They go and they're fighting monsters and they are trying to destroy a group that I'm not going to tell you about because then that will spoil the whole entire movie. But they go and they try to destroy aliens, of course, while they find out things that you didn't realize. Like, you find out that there is a mole in the agency, and who that is, you'll have to watch the movie to find out. But it's quite interesting how they are able to decipher it. They are able to put the pieces together to figure out what new things do and what things that are what the mole is in the agency and everything else. And then you get to find out that, in a movie where people can be complete jerks and then turn around and see that they are actually really nice, they really care about people, and that they are actually the same person as they were before, but they might have not remembered it because of a certain device that wipes their memory and stuff like that. And you find out what goes on, how to work as a team. Because, when you first find out about Molly, she is on probation, as in usual most places have. And while she's on probation, she is not supposed to actually really be going on missions. She's not really supposed to be going out of the office. And she literally does, because Agent H says, hey, I need a partner, so come join me. And they go to protect the world again, as usual. Not just for the first time, but for the second time, because you find out that Agent H and High T, they saved the world the first time, but with a plot twist that is like, wow, didn't see that one coming at all, unless you can really read a movie well, as some people who can't, like me, I did not see it coming that something was really off about Agent H. And so you find out a lot about it. Now, this movie is action-packed because, of course, there's a lot of gunfighting, there's a lot of chases, and there's a lot of plot twists, as I said earlier. But also, it's an adventure movie because, as I say, an adventure movie I find has one scene, then goes to another scene, and then goes to another. It's just not like you're stuck in the same city the whole entire time watching the video, where you can't see that it goes on a pathway of an adventure. And then also it's comedy because there is some laughter too, but it's mostly action and adventure. And if you like action movies and adventure movies, as I do, then great, you're in the great field of watching movies, and you're at the right review. Because, personally, the movie is great. It's great. But it's not as good as the originals. Because, you get some movies that are like the original, and then they come out with a sequel, and then they come out with a third one, or they just come out with the first one and the second one, and you're like, okay, that was kind of crappy as can be, that the second one was not as good as the first one. Or you find out that the second one was better than the first one, but still, it's usually the first one is better than the second one. And, and sometimes you find out that they've created a movie that seems so amazing, but they didn't make the second one or the third one, if there is 3 parts to it, or even just 2 parts of it. And it's like, well, that's a bummer. But in the end result, this movie is not as good as you would suspect as the first one, where you learn about everything. You learn about the aliens. You learn about that you're living in another planet that has aliens, and it's just not the regular Earth. And you learn about Agent J, who is Will Smith, who becomes an agent, and what goes on with his life and everything else. So in the end result, I usually give a ratings to movies, and the ratings go, like for sex and nudity in this one, it would be like 3. For violence and gore, it would be 5. And this is all out of 10. And then for language, it would be a 4. Okay, so that's how I rated 3, 5, 4. And also, these are the ratings I give because, you know, it could be that it might seem like it's not a big deal, but, you know, there are people out there who care about the ratings of the movie. Like, is there a lot of swearing? Is there a lot of violence? Is it safe for my kids to watch? Even though it says that the Quebec rating says G, but it says on the box that it's PG, or Quebec says it's PG, but it's PG-13, and I don't want my child watching it, because it could be a problem with a lot of swearing, or it could be a lot of violence, or it could be just like in a horror movie. You don't want to really want a kid watching a horror movie that could scare the pants off of them and give them nightmares for the next like 5 years as it goes. But, you know, in the end result, this movie is good, but it's not as good as the original one. So tread softly when you watch it. But for Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson and Liam Neeson being in it, it is well done. Beyond belief, well done. And of course, just to spoil something, there is Frank, who is the dog from the first 2, that is still in the movie. He plays a small part, but it's still a significant part to be played nonetheless. So, I hope you enjoyed watching this movie review of Men in Black International, and if you did, please give that a thumbs up. Also, remember to comment below. If there's a movie you want me to review for you, please put it in the comments below. Also, even if you just want to say thanks for a great movie review, put that in the comments below. Also, remember to subscribe to my channel if you have not, because I post every day. So be ready for a movie every day, because I got tons of movies to review for you guys that people have asked, that people have wanted to see. So please put a movie that you want reviewed. Also, remember to stay safe while coronavirus is still going across the world, even though the curve has flattened a little bit. Still, be careful. Wash your hands daily. Wash under your fingernails. Also, don't touch your eyes, your nose, your mouth while you are out, so that you don't pass anything inside your body or causes you to get COVID-19. So please be careful. And remember, the most importantly is stay home and stay safe.